There we go. I got the YouTube live stream up. Audio only, no visual. And we now have we have our workshop now. Have 3 items on the list for tonight. And that we had thrown on here. One is the budget. We have pretty much gone through that. Are we all set with the budget then? Yeah. Okay. Battery energy storage. We tabled that at our last regular board meeting. No, I left it over there. As you can tell by the aroma, our cleaning crew was in today. The vacuum scoured everything today. Okay. Now, we had this at the last board meeting. Carrie recommended we table this because she had, at the 11th hour, received some questions from Shelley, our code enforcement officer. I did talk with Shelley about it. She said there was nothing really there that she was really concerned about. It was just a couple questions she just threw out there.
I said this was just an email that I received from Shelley, and I just brought it up at the meeting. I didn't say that she was overly concerned about it. I just said these were a couple of questions that she had.
Well, that's what you based your tabling on, was because of her comments.
I asked to address her comments, and Tom actually suggested that we table it because you didn't want to talk about it at the meeting.
Right. I tabled it until we get an explanation from it.
Well, we take a look at this issuance of permits and approvals, which should be approval, by the Berrytown Board should include review pursuant to the State Environment Quality Act Review Act, or the SEQR. Her comment was, this seems to imply the town board gives a building permit, or perhaps it should say issuance of special use permits instead, which is what I did do in here, is I crossed out issuance of permits, plural, and she was talking about it being more specific, such as the SUP permit.
Right. You're only concerned with the wording.
Yeah. So, like I said, I put in here SUP permit.
I'm good with that.
I'm sorry?
I'm good with that.
Okay. And then her other problem was with storage systems shall have a maximum lot parcel coverage of 75%. Maximum lot size shall not exceed 1 acre, subject to other setback requirements. So I think she got lost in the way it is worded.
Where we could put 2 or 3 of the storage units onto that parcel, that's what was confusing her.
I mean, she wanted to know about the parcel, but in there it was the 1 acre, saying 1 acre. Well, these things, at least from everything I've read, are approximately the size of a container, one of those steel containers. And like you're talking about, if you have adequate ventilation between them for firefight, possible fires, whatever, you know, putting 3 of them sitting on a 1 acre lot with a setback should be, to me, that would be probably about maximum number that you could put on a 1 acre lot. They said maximum lot, and then parentheses parcel, coverage of 75%. So basically, she was asking also in the second sentence, maximum lot size. She was wondering if that should also say maximum lot coverage shall not exceed. Or it could be coverage / lot parcel size. You know, it just, the verbiage there is what she was questioning. So my question is, do we keep it the same, or should we try and reword that a little bit?
I know it's a little, well, I just don't know if there's a way to like clarify it, or just by making sure that she understands what our intent is, so that then when she has to enforce it, or like, you know, if she has a note for herself, and then so that if this ever comes up, she knows, okay, this is what the intent of the town board was when this law was passed.
I agree with you. I tried talking to her about this and so on, but I think you're right as far as that comment there is concerned. So we'll just leave that as is then. Tom, Margaret, you see her?
I'm satisfied with that.
Okay.
And it is saying that this is only allowed on a 1 acre lot. Like, it can't be a larger lot. Just so that, like, just for clarification, we're all on the same page.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. On the second page, issuance, I'm sorry, you were gonna say something, Tom?
No.
Okay. Issuance of permits and approvals by the Berry Town Board shall include review pursuant to the State Environment Quality Review Act, or the seeker. Her comment was, this seems to imply the town board gives the building permit, or perhaps it should say issuance of special use permits instead.
Isn't that what we just discussed? You were going to change it?
Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're
Yep.
good on that. It was just those two that I had.
Okay, and the last one was storage systems shall have a maximum lot parcel coverage of 75%. Oh, it's the same thing.
I was going to say, it's just two. It's only.
Sorry about that. I was reading the same thing over again.
Sorry.
Yep. Okay, then. So we only make the one change there, issuance of SUP permits and approval by the town board. Berry Town Board shall include review pursuant to the state, to the seeker.
Yep.
Okay, so once we make that change, then this is all set for us to vote on at our upcoming board meeting then. Okay, that's good. The third item I wanted to share with you folks, and unfortunately you two at home, although Tom, you've been at the meetings with me, so you know. Margaret, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to see it that easily at this time. One thing that has driven me crazy through the years is all these small little water projects. And I kept harping about, why can't we just finish it all off at once, the whole town? Right. Well, that was all because rural development, which is a federal government agency, like little projects. Now they're pushing for the bigger projects, like what we have going on down in Elba. I have here a map. Which takes two things. There's two projects here. And Tom, you can correct me as you hear me. Right now, as you see on here, the water that we have, that we get from the village, comes all the way down to the fire hall, and is pumping station is here at 31. Pumps the water up into our elevator behind the fire hall. And that takes care of the whole town of Albion, which you see in pink or whatever color you want to call it, lavender, as well as the town of Berry. That's that one tank right there. Okay? Main concern I've always had, especially after we had that fire down here on Old Oak Orchard Road, Old 98.
Yeah.
And the fire department complained that they did not have enough fire fighting pressure. It's only about a mile apart. That bothered me a great deal. We get water put in out here on the far west side of town. What's the guarantee we're going to have anything to fight a fire out there? So Shelby approached us, town of Shelby, because they presently get their water from the village of Medina. Medina gets it from Niagara Water Authority, right, Tom?
Right.
Okay. And they get it at a real cheap rate, like what, about $1.90 a thousand? Something like that. And then the village of Medina puts a $3 per thousand tag on top of that, selling the water to the village, to the town of Shelby. Shelby, in order to have an O&M, has to increase it some to their folks in their town. So they're paying some of the highest water rates in the whole county because of the village of Medina jacking it up $3 a thousand. So they've approached us wondering about the possibility of doing the same with us as the town of Albion does. Now, this got us talking. In order for us to do that, we can't do it out of our present elevator.
Right.
We own property on Pine Hill Road. The town does.
Right.
So one thing we were talking with the engineers about is what is the possibility of putting in a second elevated tower on Pine Hill Road?
Yeah.
Which means another pump station, which we would have right here by the fire hall. It'll pump water down Maple Street to the elevated on,
Thank you.
I want to say Bragg's, Pine Hill, and then out of that, we would run a main line down Pask Road into the town of Shelby.
Yeah.
Now, what you see here, you see this heavy dotted line, dashed line right here. Everything north of that dashed line would be at the present water pressure that we have right now at 810, or the elevation's 810. Water pressure south of it, which is the southern half, and this western portion that I've always been concerned about, will be at 860 elevation. Quite a bit better water pressure over here. So, that's if we look at doing this. That also takes into effect that the town of Murray gets water from the town of Albion that gets their water from us. And who was the other town? Tom?
You had
Ridgeway, that's right.
Okay, the Ridgeway too.
Yep, Ridgeway was here because they get some of the water as well. They get it from the town of Albion right here. So, it's 4 municipalities we're talking about that would be affected by this. Now, the one nice thing about it being multiple municipalities means it cuts the cost way down. Federal government loves seeing something like this. The thing is, not knowing what the other municipalities want to do, what I've told the engineers to do is, let's finish off the rest of the town. The whole west side, let's get rid of some of these, dead ends. I'm looking at down like White City, the south end of 98, where we can't really run water lines down there to keep the quality there. I've already met with the supervisor in the town of Elba, and she sounds willing that they would be out-of-district users. So that, because Elba just ran water lines right on up into those areas right there. Down at the south end of like Crane and
You got, Crane, Sheeler, Smaller,
Burns. Burns. Down there at Crane and Burns, we can approach Oakfield, and more than likely, we might be able to work out something there where they would be out of district, because once again, the south end of those two roads, it's quite a long run to get down to them, and because of the number of homes, the quality might not be there, but just over the county line, in the town of Oakfield, there are a number of homes that they could easily become out-of-district users. So, at this time, I've asked the engineers, let's finish off the town. This deal with the town of Shelby is something down the road. Shelby is all on board. They want to do it. We've had the supervisor and the superintendent here, met with them a couple times. They want it.
Okay,
They can sell it to their, in fact, they've already had people in their town saying, yes, let's do it.
by putting another tower at Pine Hill.
Yeah.
That would give enough pressure to Shelby?
And the whole southern part of Berry.
Right,
Everything you see blue here.
right.
Give us great pressure, water pressure.
So I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
They are upset because Medina is placing, too much of a fee on them.
Yep.
I know that we have talked about the immense expense to repair and upkeep on the tower that we have right now. I'm looking at the metered sales. Does this, with all of Albion, does this include, like, in my mind, because the town of Berry is taking on their expense and the responsibility of having this, my thought is that the residents of Albion, the water purchasers of Albion should be paying to cover for the, you know what I mean, of the
Well,
tower.
we'd have to have municipal agreements. That's where the lawyers come in.
Is that
The
what we
agreement
have?
we have with the town of Albion right now. Now, when it comes to water purchases, the town of Albion, for every 4 gallons we get, town of Albion uses 3 of them. They use about 75% of the water that goes through that elevated tank.
Right, and
So we charge them for that water that they use. Now, when it comes to repairs, the agreement we have for the elevated tank, as well as the pump station, we split all that 50-50.
see, and that's where I have a problem, because the town of Berry, our residents are getting lower water pressure because of the amount of water that's going out to Albion.
No. No,
How is
because,
that not,
because the elevation is kept constant. It's kept constant. If you keep that elevation inside that tank, 810 is the maximum height. So if they keep that elevation up, if it drops down to 700 above, yeah, then we have a decrease in water pressure. But the pumps are automatic. I mean, it's like a sump pump in your house.
right,
When it starts to lower, it kicks on out into the water treatment plant. The water treatment plant then starts pumping out of the tank up there on 98.
Yep.
Right,
pumps it on up to the large one we have on 31 up here, and on into the elevated tank. So they keep that up there within 10 feet.
I guess my thought is that I think that there is a reason that Medina is putting a surcharge on what's going to Shelby. It's not just that, oh, Medina is seeing this as the village of Medina is seeing this as a source of revenue. It may be a slight source of revenue, but I think it's more to cost. It's to cover their costs for things as well. And I want to make sure before we start doing any other agreements or anything that we're making sure that we're not giving more costs to residents of Berry than should be for like maintenance and our water fees and all of that stuff.
They worked out the numbers, and in doing this, it would increase on our debt service per EDU $5 a year. That's what they're trying to do, is keep the cost down as much as possible. It will be a $5 increase EDU. EDU being your house is 1 EDU, my
Right.
house is 1 EDU.
Right.
Right, per year.
Per year.
Per all of the houses in Berry, or only the houses that would be actually involved in this water district?
That's for us in Berry. Out here, it would be a little bit more.
I guess I would need to see a lot more and understand.
Yeah, I only got one set of these, other ones I can share it with you. You can look at these at your leisure though.
I think that Gary had some thoughts.
Who?
Gary had some thoughts.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Gary, I'm sorry.
Elbow water, don't they get it from Monroe County?
No, Batavia.
Are you,
Part of Elba gets it from Monroe County, part of it gets it from Batavia. They've got like
Didn't
two different.
Monroe County have the cheapest water around? Yes. There's no way for us to tap into that, right?
Well, in doing this, the one thing that according to, Tom, what's his name there at the plant? Not Jason.
Adam Rush.
Adam Rush, thank you. Adam Rush says that by having more sales, like taking on Shelby, would help lower the cost of our water. So it would decrease the cost by having more sales.
Then the tower on the west side is gonna be 70 feet taller than the one on the current one,
50,
50 feet?
yeah, 810, 860.
So, well, this tower is 122 feet, so that one would be like 172 feet.
Could we go with a bigger tower?
But
Give
it's,
more pressure.
You mean right here?
Well, this one, we can't do anything with,
No.
it's here, but the new one,
The new one,
and
larger tank, yes,
larger tank, but I'm talking higher, because you gotta go higher to get more pressure.
yes, exactly.
So would it be able to go higher?
We'll have to take a look,
What
because
I'm
this is
thinking
based on the pressure that Shelby presently has coming in from Erie.
What I'm thinking though is
Or not Erie.
backflow back into us. Eliminate this tower.
Oh, eliminated?
That elevation is also considered how high the land is.
right, I was just
Right.
gonna say that the Pine Hill is a lot higher than Berry Center.
Well, I
Yeah.
understand that, but what I'm,
100 feet higher.
if we could eliminate that tower and run it all out of a bigger one, we would be more efficient. Plus, that would give us more pressure all the way across the board.
We'd have to build quite a larger tank. Having the two tanks. This one would take care of the pressure, because if, with this huge area here with the town of Elgin, for them to increase to this greater pressure, there's a lot of pressure valves in homes and everything that would have to be completely replaced. That's what they were saying at the meeting. We don't have that many. In fact, our meters our pressure valves that we have in our homes right now, because of being a newer system, can be adjusted, or they are regulated, they can regulate that higher pressure.
But the upkeep of 2 towers is gonna be a lot more expensive too.
So, I'm just throwing it out right now, just for, this is food for
Right.
thought, just to let you know, this is what we just started talking about in the last year.
So basically, the way what you're gonna do is pump it to this tower and then pump it from this tower to that tower.
That's what they're talking about. I thought coming out of the large tank would be better, but that's the way they have it right here. They're saying right to the present tower behind the fire hall, and then putting in a pump station there that will pump it up to the higher elevation over on Pine Hill.
What's their, alleged of having to have 2 pump stations to get it that high?
No, they just have one pump station, but it would have 2 pumps in it, yeah. Just like we have presently, we have 2 pumps in the pump station up there on 31.
What are the blue triangles?
What?
The blue triangles?
Of course it doesn't say. I am going to say those are, yeah, because there's one right there, there's one up
Where it
here.
switches to the town from.
That,
This one. So that was your.
what they are, I do believe, this town line road right here, this is the one they just put in. Meter pits.
Yeah.
Those are meter pits. Those are existing meter pits at this time.
Okay. The
Some
first,
are turned on, some are not turned on.
the first thing you wanna do is the rest of Barry, right?
Yeah, that's why I told him, I said, this is something that's gonna be in discussion for a little while yet. Time in show.
And
But I told him right now, let's concentrate on finishing, like Brad's schoolhouse.
But if we complete Barry.
Yep.
This tower is good enough to supply water to the rest of it.
It's good enough to supply water throughout our town.
Okay,
My concern is fire
right,
fighting
right,
pressure.
right.
That's my concern. Like I said, that was only a mile from our present elevated tank, where that fire was, and that house just about burned to the ground. And they're complaining they can't, I think it's partly fire flow in the water lines. I think the other part is the new fire equipment, not just that we get, but other areas get as well. I think that their pumps draw so fast it almost dries out the water line. I think, I don't know, I'm not an expert. So I just wanted to share this with you and let you know that I told them, come up with a plan right now just to finish off the rest of the town.
Right.
I wanna get the town done, period.
So the fire company said they didn't have enough water or enough pressure.
Enough pressure.
That's bullshit. That's their truck there. Because that pressure, as long as that tank is always full.
Yep.
That pressure is always there. That never changes.
Yep.
Unless the height drops. They had to have, if they were sucking too much, then they've got a flow problem.
That's what my feeling is right there.
That's the way it goes.
Yep.
I do irrigation for a living. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah, I just
increase-
have a feeling the
you
new
lose
equipment.
pressure forever. If you don't have the flow, you'll never get it.
I agree with you.
How many fire hydrants did they tap for that?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
That's an 8-inch line, isn't it, down
Yep.
through there?
Yep.
I'll bet you anything, they were pumping too much water, too much flow, they need a pressure problem. Because the pressure never changes.
But it's still being it shouldn't change, right? But trying to keep that pressure up way down the southwest corner,
You've got,
it's a
you've
long
got
run.
friction loss, but
Yep.
At a mile,
Yep.
that friction loss is not,
No, it's minimal.
it's minimal. No, that's, no, I understand down at the end, yeah, you got friction loss.
Yeah.
And by there, that makes sense, but not at a mile. They ran out of water, they were using too much water.
Okay, so these are things that we're gonna,
What level is the tank? Like, what is that level where it gets below? At what height do they start refilling? And is that something that when we get a call, like a fire call, that we could set I know it's all digital, like on your
Yep.
phone now and
Yep.
everything anyways.
it's all automated, and they just updated everything out there too.
So is there something that we could do that if a call comes in for a fire, that we could get the tanks going, we know we're gonna be
Adam
expelling,
has all that.
and so that it's an instant that they start running and refilling and making sure that the tank has got water going to it.
Yeah, Adam says that's all set up, it's all automated.
It's set up
He gets
and
a warning, and he can see all the pumps, make sure they're all working, the levels he has everything right on his phone.
okay.
And if there's a need, he can run right out to the, filtration plant out there.
Yeah, that would have been the only thing, that water level dropped too low. They would have lost pressure then.
Yep.
If that all becomes, because they're using too much water, using it too fast. Faster than the pumps can resupply. A question I would ask the fire company is, how many gallons per minute they're pumping through the trucks?
Yeah.
And then find out how many gallons per minute the reflow is.
Tom, do you remember what Adam has said in the past about how much those pumps pump per minute? Up at 31?
I don't remember how many gallons per minute they pump, but, I think as Gary was talking, I agree, I think they were talking about pressures because they didn't have the water.
Right.
Yep. I can't remember what it was, but it's a great amount that gets pumped.
Well, I would assume
Yeah.
that it's huge. I don't think.
And those are 12-inch lines that run from the pump station all the way to the elevated.
See, and I just don't think those trucks can out-pump. There's no way they've got a pump on there as big as what's pumping that water.
No.
So I don't know what happened there, why they would run out of water, but that's what it is, they run out of water. Because it's the same thing when you pump it out of a well for an irrigation system. Once the water's gone, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You can have all the pressure in the world, but the pressure doesn't change. That's a static number.
Yep.
Depending on. I didn't realize they ran out of water. That's really amazing.
He said they did not have enough water to fight the fire. I guess it was just like running out of the nozzle. So.
Well, wasn't there something said, Sean, about debris in that line too?
That was something else. When they were pumping, testing their system on some new water line or some new hydrants, they came in here and they showed us a chunk of asphalt that ended up in their screen system on the truck that they said was in the water line. That came out of the water line. We don't know how it happened because, it's the contractor that puts it together, and as they lay it down in there, they make sure there's no debris gets into there. Plus, before it gets tested by the health department, they have to open up every one of those hydrants. And that's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure comes flying through there. And that's a large hole, larger than what the fire truck has. So, where the water comes flying out, we don't know. And then they have their regular flushing that they do all the time too.
More than likely, they dropped their connection on the road, picked up some gravel, slammed it on the hydrant, and then it got to the truck.
Well,
Just like you say, they gotta flush the line. There's no way to keep that chunk in there when you flush the line.
no. And
Same thing they do with irrigation, you flush that line, all that shit blows out the end.
yeah. So, yeah, they came in here one night and they showed all the rocks. Were you here? Okay.
And I didn't believe it when they showed it. I believe that they collected it, but
Yeah. But not out of our water lines.
I thought then that somebody dropped the damn hose in they gouged up some of the asphalt. They stuck it on there and then it went into the truck. It's
Yeah.
the only
Could have been.
logical solution.
Okay, folks, we all set then?
We're all set.
Okay.
See you next Wednesday. 7 o'clock, right?
7 PM next Wednesday.
All night.
Oh, yeah, you got a little choice there. You're leaving? Yeah, that's right. Okay, Sonny's back in there? Yeah. Whining? Oop, I didn't turn anything on. Now I know where that table goes. As long as along that wall. Laura, where did this table come from?
Move everything around for the election.
Yep. See you later, Carrie.
Bye.